All right. So as of right now, as you see, we're in this daily chart, right? And I've told you guys since long time ago, blah 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 blah, right? We've been going uptrend since long, long, long ago. Okay, so technically, right here, this is what we were dealing with a few days ago, right? And we attempted to do that breakout. That's fine. Okay. However, right here, we were going in a channel, right? Before this attempted breakout the few days ago, which it failed. All
Okay.
right. At this point, okay. I wish I could have extended. I'm gonna redo this again, okay? Because I want you guys to start seeing my point in a little bit, okay? So okay. So usually when you're trading a chart, okay, when you're trying to do try to buy, sell, or whatever it may be, what you normally want to do, it's always see points of support. Okay, whenever there is a sell-off, okay, you always want to check out supports as far as you buying or resistance if you want to sell. Okay, so how do we normally find out whether we got support in here? What the support means people, big money, okay, that is there waiting for it, for the price not to drop. Okay, how it has happened before here. Again, right here, this was a delusion, okay, back then. And look, with a delusion, we didn't go past it because this channel was being drawn for us in the future. Okay, and all these people who support it, they know what they're doing, right? We don't know what they're doing, but now we do kind of have an idea. So when all this happened over here and this failed, right, we gapped down, and the first thing was to find out where was this channel, the back of it. You had a bunch of people here waiting for that drop. They knew what was going to happen, and most likely could be even the big institutions, because that's what big money is the one moving all this. All right, so their money was over here, and at that point, if you take a look at it, the lowest was 181, and it went all the way up to 206, right? All of this is the bulls, right, pushing the price up, right? Whoever was able to get here, awesome, but that doesn't mean the price is going to stay there for hours and hours. The next person comes in and they just buy, and people are not selling off anymore. So at that point, it pushes the price up. So what's the goodness about this right here is that we got back into this channel, which I love it personally, okay? Because at least we can see at what point we could go up or we're going down. But if you take a look at it, this channel is going uptrend all the time. So lowest of this channel in a month is not the same as what it is right now. So a lot of people right now are like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Meanwhile, we're in this trend, okay? Unless we have any type of signal that this trend has changed, as I thought it could have happened over here. Breaking out of a channel usually gives you a different type of trend, which you don't know what's going to happen, right? But due to that this fail, and mainly because people do not understand what the news really means, then at that point it made us go back to the channel. Okay, so usually, again, right here is where we are. Technically, imagine over here, right? We got this candle, and technically you had people buying off over here, most likely because there were moving averages. Right now you guys have not seen any of my actual moving averages over here. It could have been probably a Fibonacci level or whatever it may be. Okay, so usually you have moving averages that they hold the prices up because you got people buying in there and so on and so forth. Okay, so again, as of right now, due to this past history, I'm just playing a gamble where I'm just buying. Let me go ahead and remove all these studies. Okay, I'm just buying because I'm comparing this candle to this candle, and I'm hoping that tomorrow we're gonna go higher. So the reason why I'm buying now is because I'm hoping that tomorrow I could probably go up like at least 10 cents or 20 cents or whatever it may be, because usually that's what normally would happen after a big sell off. So that's
Okay.
the reason why I said that. Then once to after tomorrow, then at that point, I'm just going to wait until for this to stabilize. And once it stabilizes, and again, if it comes back down to the back of the channel, remember, every single day that passes, remember a long time ago, I said it somewhere over here, it was like the 162, 160 something or whatever it was over here. All right. Then time passes, and right now your bottom is at 187. So if we're going to continue to be within this channel, later on that the bottom of the channel is going to be $2, and later on is going to be $4, and so on and so on and so forth. Okay, so right now, okay, so to be honest, you guys know I've read every single PR, I read every single all the 10Ks. Okay, so the 10, well, the ERs are the 10Ks or the 10Qs. Okay, so I read all of them, and I can, you ask me a question and I can tell you it's on here, here, or there. Okay, and because I was negative, I was negative $40,000 on back on June 4th, June 5th, whatever that day was. So after today, okay, I was just waiting for this confirmation, to be honest. Today is the confirmation of a new genus for me. And why do I say this? Because now we're playing with the big boys. It's not just about Amazon, okay? About in this case Alibaba, who they're co-producing. It's not just about that. Now we got this legend, which usually in this case, has way too many fans. It's a lot of marketing that is involved with a lot of money in there. And again, Marvel, technically, if you look at the fans, is not just kids. We're talking about parents. We're talking about like any, uncles, aunts, and everybody. There, I mean, I got a lot of people that they know Marvel. You see what I'm saying? They're not necessarily 7 or 5 years old. So in this case, now that Genus has what people, I mean, people, they say no, Marvel, they did not care about Stanley's creation. I mean, why would it be that we just acquire POW deal back on July 8th, okay, and imagine from July 8th all the way up to March 30th, all right? I'm sure there's months and months. In this case, I think it was November. I think when we started, talking about Marvel. All right, so from I think it was November, December on, Marvel was in the picture, and I'm sure before that time they were talking. Okay, because when Andy had that interview back, I think it was December or somewhere along those lines, he talked about, oh, something coming up with Marvel or a deal with Marvel. So with that being said, how long before that they were talking about this? You see what I'm saying? Because out of nowhere in a day this is going to happen. So that makes me think is that Marvel was the one who approached Genus. But does that matter? I don't care. What matters is the fact that here we got, again, long time ago I had an interview with Genus, and within that they mentioned it was Stanley Universe is a diamond yet to be polished. So, with all this that's about to come over, I feel that this is where our way out to many things. Why? Because now, remember what Stanley Universe has. They could create films. They could even create theme parks with it. So why would, I mean, they could do whatever they want. I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen, but it's just, the sky is the limit in this type of things. All you need is, I mean, this is going to happen throughout years, of course. But anyways, I don't want to give out too much into it because everybody should do their own DD. As far as me, I was just waiting for this to go all in, because before I was like, okay, buying and selling certain extra shares, but now I'm like, forget about it. I'm already in the back of the channel. I'm over here. I bought when this thing came down, I bought a lot, but I'm buying way more. And I don't mind, a few 10 cents or 20 cents. I care less. You see what I'm saying? But my buy-ins are going to be from here to here. Do I see this thing actually dropping from there? The only way would be dilutions. Okay, that will be the only way I could see it getting out of the of this channel, if so. But the thing is that now, because of that new collaboration, is the fact that makes me think that a lot of people, they now see it as a fundamental change in genus. All right. So I'm really excited. And I mean, again, it's up to you guys, whatever you guys want to do. But yeah, I usually don't talk about this, or I'm all in, or whatever it may be. You guys will never hear me. I always say buy extra, sell extra, do your thing, whatever it may be. But for me, this is something that is fundamentally for me to say, wow, I could see this going this much or that much or whatever it may be, and confirm what I once even said, that we will get to Netflix type of thing, scale, not necessarily in the 400s or whatever it may be, because it was a lot of fluff last year, right? So, but anyways, because we got so much going on with Genus. I mean, if we're gonna compare Genus with Netflix, of course, we're talking about two different things. One that is already in the $21 billion revenue type of thing, and Genus, which is not, is like less than $1 million revenue per quarter or whatever it may be. But the thing is that Genus, you got so many things happening. You got licensing, you got royalties, you got subscription, you got free, you got free airing or the channel, right? And then you got merchandise, you got toys. Now you got Stanley Universe. They create cartoons and they sell cartoons, something that, if we're going to go ahead and take a look at Netflix, which they've been around way longer, right? And they're completely successful, but they don't do those things. Well, can they do the same? They could, right? But what I'm saying is that Genius has a lot that they could make revenue from in the future. I mean, they already have everything set up. Even if you look at Rainbow Rangers, they already have the watermark or whatever it is that they usually do for whatever they're doing. They have for perfumes, they have for jewelry, and all these other little. I mean, you guys are not seeing this, but I saw this, like, due to all the research or whatever. I already saw that, so I'm like, wow, what are they trying to do? So it's pretty cool to see that these people right now, last year, it was like the setup. Okay, and I always told you guys, last year was the setup of Cartoon Channel and everything, the backbone. And I always said 2021 is where they're going to start checking out Stanley Universe, because Andy said 7 characters per year, right? So now I see Marvel, and I never thought Marvel will ever put their hands on it. I really thought it was going to be Netflix or Alibaba or Amazon, one of those three, but never ever thought of Marvel. So now it makes it even better. You see what I'm saying? So at this point, you got what DC is the competitor of Marvel. Something that DC can have or can get is, in this case, you could create all the superheroes you want, but nothing like a Stan Lee superheroes. And it's just like when you are an artist, right? And you die, right? And then now all your drawings become $1 million drawings, right? Da Vinci and all these other artists. So it's the same thing. So now all of this, what Andy's trying to do, they're going to explode it and explode it right. So I feel that right now, this year, next year we're going to be laughing at these numbers. So and you could see it due to the chart. I mean, the chart is telling you where it's heading to, and it has been no deviation since back in September. We may think that we started seeing this, but no, this chart started doing this uptrend since back in September. We came from a downtrend. Okay, you see that we came from a downtrend, but as of September on, we started drawing this type of trend. So everything right now, Genius is actually doing, okay? Everything is nothing but, for future. The thing is that they're building future, for future revenue. They're just, in my opinion, okay, again, I'm an engineer, I'm not anything in the entertainment world, but just seeing the big picture, they're just putting all the pillars where they need to be at. And that's the thing, a lot of the investors here are ignorant to that world, including myself. So again, I'm gonna do a lot of research as you guys have seen that I switched from DD, which it was all this time here, and I think up to here, I switched from DD all the way up to here, I think it was, and then I started changing to technicals from here to here. And you guys, the people that don't know technicals, I share my technicals is because a lot of people they don't understand why is it not holding, why is GNUS always never holding, but it's not because it's not holding, it's meant to go up and then reject because that's how people makes money. Okay, they help you to push and then they leave where they can. Okay, and remember over here that I was saying, hey guys, we got the technical bulls coming over here. Yes, they're over here and they leave over here. Then you got the probability of breaking out. Cool, but as I told you also, guys, we got the same people, right? They come in, but usually they sell off. Usually it's the day before because, those are kind of the greedy ones, but they leave usually 2 days now. So they come in, okay, they see the chart and they say, okay, I want it here or wherever it is. Let's see, I'm already at profit. Okay, if it breaks out, awesome. But if it doesn't break out, I already made profit, but I'm leaving this day. Usually, again, I've seen it now where they leave 2 days before the actual news because they don't care about the news. I personally, when I trade stocks, I do not care. I don't even look at news. I just go in and I look at the chart and I'm like, okay, it's doing this and that. Okay, I'm going, this is a good entry. And then I leave. Okay, I'm going to go ahead, check out. This is the resistance. Okay, I'm leaving. Thank you. So that's all I do. And the same way I do, a lot of people does. So, but the thing is that shareholders they don't understand that because most of the shareholders are fundamental. They love the stock, they are there or they got stuck. And the people that are stuck in it, they don't understand technicals. So they get frustrated with all this. Back then I told you guys, hey, we're at the back of the channel. We're at the back of the channel. Go ahead and load up. I said I loaded. And of course, I loaded here, I loaded here, I loaded everywhere. But I got a lot of money. So I'm okay with all these tips and sold and then came back over here and rebought, right? But those are the things. Now that you guys here, I wish I had someone that was telling me all this over here, right? Back then over here, we had no education from no one. All we had was DD finding out what's up with the company. But now that you guys have me and many others that are contributing to technicals, now you guys are, it's like, okay, so we're good. We're still here. That's what you guys always want to see, that we are within information because investing nowadays is not just about fundamentals. Fundamentals allows you to buy at the peaks and you don't care. If you're a long-term investor, you could buy anywhere. You could be lucky and buy it here, okay? But you see your money after years, right? That's a fundamental investor. But if you're looking in and you're saying, oh my gosh, I'm not making money because I bought it here, then that's on you. Why? Because then you're not a long term investor. And then if you're going to be crying just because of whatever, then at that point, you need to invest in technicals that allows you to see at what point you should get out. So I saw this, I got out somewhere over here because I'm like, this thing is not bouncing back. It's coming right back down. So again, when you are in channels, okay, when you are in channels, all right, the idea is always to buy it at the back of the channel, all right? And then it's on you whatever happens after it, okay? Now, when you are in this channel, so you're out of a channel, your stop losses should be somewhere over here. So that way you don't get burnt with all this right here, okay? So now that you guys know this, okay, so as of right now, everything looks that we are obeying the channel. So meanwhile, you guys don't see it at 170 or 160, then at that point, just forget about it. This thing is gonna tank, which I don't really see it as of right now. Everything is looking good in my opinion. And let me see. And even on, let's see, moving averages over here, okay. This is the downtrend. I'm not gonna erase it, but if you see it over here, we got the 50 moving average, so we're above it, and that's always a good sign. So here is the middle of the Bollinger Band. Usually when you have something cross in the middle of the Bollinger Band, it tends to keep going down, okay? So again, for me tomorrow, this week, the reason why I loaded was just to see if there's anything out there and trying to see if maybe tomorrow we happen by luck, right? Open up at a higher price, okay? But those are my extra shares. So that's what I'm going to be playing as of right now. And again, if we come back down to the 187s or 180 whatever it is, I'm buying as much as I can. And just at that point, I'm in the back of the channel unless there is a bad news that, it wasn't my fault. I can't, those are external forces that I can't control because I don't know when Andy is going to give out a delusion. If there's anything out there, I have no clue. But at least I'm making sure that I'm buying wherever I feel comfortable on. All right. And any questions? All right, I'm gonna go ahead and post this video on YouTube, and also um, I just want to invite for anybody who watches outside of this of the people in Discord, if they want to join this free Discord and join this awesome community that we have for our Genius channel, you're welcome to do so, and I will be posting the link in the YouTube channel. All right. Well,
Hey,
guys,
Yolanda, I got a question for you.
sure, go ahead.
Do you think that, because I know, I guess, WandaVision and there's other stuff that's probably happened with maybe Stanley's involved. Do you think that that deal was reached before that so they could kind of incorporate that into all their stuff and probably possibly already got paid for it?
So when you were talking, you cut off. I'm so sorry. Say that one more time.
About the earnings. So the earnings from the fourth quarter coming out. Do you
Yeah.
think that Genius Policy got paid for some Stanley stuff
Okay.
beforehand? Because the deal was done beforehand.
All right. So just give me a second. So let me go ahead and remove all this so we can have all this clear. Okay. So the earnings that you're about to see, I think it's either tomorrow or something along those lines. All right. It's gonna be based off in this case, whatever it was, December 31st and before, which it was 3 months before. So it's gonna be October 1st, all right, November, full October, full November, and full December. All right. So that's why I told you on a few videos ago, do not expect much from that ER. And the reason why is because we had a dilution in here, okay? And that dilution was, I think it was this one, if I'm not mistaken. It was somewhere around here, all right? And so that right there is, it was December, so it was within Q4. What you're about to see is Q4. It's nothing to deal with Q1, which that's the one that I'm waiting for, which is going to be the one in May, because that's the one we're going to start seeing January 1st and above. And anyways, from there on, January 1st and above, we can see, advertisements better, maybe some cheese gum revenue, okay? Because that cheese gum revenue, I think it was somewhere in here, so it wasn't the full quarter. So whatever you get to see now, another thing is that this is the 10K. Okay, so in the 10K, let me go ahead and show you guys. Okay, so let's go ahead and go into SEC filings. All right. And within, let me see if I'm recording. Okay, so within the SEC filing, annual reports. Okay, so here's an annual report. This is last year's. Okay, this is what we're going to get. Look, last year we got it on March 30th. We don't get a 10Q, we get a 10K. Okay, and that's why it takes really long. Within the 10K, if you go to the revenues, the financials, just give me a second. Where are you? Let me go ahead and just where are you? Right here. Okay, financials, business risk, blah blah. Financial statements. Okay, here we go. All right, where are you? You're right here. Right here. Okay, so this right here, it shows the entire year. Okay, so it's going to show the entire year for 2019 and the entire year of 2020. And the entire year of 2020, you're going to see not only whatever revenue they had, okay, And you're also going to see obviously the expenses, which is the operating expenses, which should be kind of the same, worth about the same much. But then here, this is our problem. Okay, not necessarily modification expenses, but here's where the dilution will show up. Remember on Q3, we had like $383 million in dilution. Guess what's going to show up right now? It's going to show that plus whatever this dilution was. All of that gets calculated. It has to be accounted for. So right there, you're going to have that revenue, okay, as having so many millions. Remember, the revenue, I mean, let's say the revenue was 4 million or 5 million, per se, the 5 million, for example, okay? And then the expenses, no matter what, it's going to be something along these lines, 12 million, whatever it is. So automatically right there, you're already negative, okay? You're at net loss right there. And then once you put in and you calculate like $400 million worth of dilution, guess what you're going to have? You're still going to have a net loss. You're still going to have an EPS, a horrible EPS, but not necessarily because the company did wrong, I mean bad. It's just that they had delusion. But guess what? Right now we're getting, okay, we are getting results, okay? And again, what we are building, we have built last year. We're going to start seeing it as of this year on, in my opinion, because Superhero Kindergarten is going to come up and it's going to start giving out revenues. At least I would say Q3. We can see what the power of Superhero Kindergarten could do. So, and Chiscam will be fully in there. So all of these things, for me, I'm fine. They can dilute all they want as long as they give me revenue, throughout a certain time. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, going back to the ER, it's going to be a 10K. And you're going to see this year, which is going to be 2020, and it's definitely not going to be a net profit. It is going to be a net loss, in my opinion. I mean, because you have to account for those $400 million worth of dilution. Okay. And but the only thing is that one of the things is that also I teach in the classes on the people that have taken my classes here can tell you when you're checking out penny stocks or anything under $5 or whatever it may be, or any company, I teach you on how to check out your cash equivalent. Oh, always. I mean, this was 2019. Of course, they didn't have much. Okay, so you always want to have your cash equivalent. Okay, you always want to check and see if that company actually can run by itself. If in case something happens, okay, for how many years could it run? So right now, Genius, it definitely does have. So when again going, let's say this is not even a stock I'm in, okay, but those are one of the things that you want to check. You want to check how much cash and cash equivalent is in it, okay? Then you want to see what debt do they have, okay? Another thing you always want to check out also is how many shares has been diluted, which we understand that's definitely a red flag. But as of right now, they have no debt, okay? They do have a lot of cash in the current assets. All right, so you have two green checks and you have one red flag in there. And then you always want to check that your revenue is always growing, right? And you also want to check is what's the operating expenses to, and that's the money that you usually you get your cash and cash equivalent, and you divide that money into this right here, because at that point you're like, okay, if they even if they don't make any revenue, can they survive? And at that point it tells you yes, they can survive up to 10 years, and you're like, okay, that's fine. You see what I'm saying? So again, out of the checks that usually, that's a quick scan though, I teach the students like, okay, you check this out. And if this has all of those are checks, then you guys can go heavy into certain stocks. But if not, then at that point you're like, okay, let me only go like 300, 500, or 1,000 shares or whatever it may be. Okay. And in this case, Genus does have everything except the dilution, of course, is the only red flag. But everything else, you can look it up anywhere. Those are one of the key points that you always want to check out in stocks. Any stocks, by the way. It doesn't necessarily need to be just penny stocks, any stocks. Okay, so anyways, all I'm saying is that when Genus or when Andy talks about in their PR saying we are debt free, we have cash in hands, or those are the points that he's always making. It's because that's a big plus for any company. You always, and right now, as you remember, was telling you guys about the SPX, right? So as you see the SPX, back then when I was telling you guys, we were here on this, I think we were right here on this day, and I said, well, I'm expecting 2 days green, and then and then 1 day red or something like that. We're going to start like going down, and it kind of is doing that. Not because I know I can see the future, but it kind of tells you that in the charts. So I'm like, I hope there is one green day or at least 2 green days, and from there on, we might be going back down in the SPX, right? So so right now, in order for me to go to stocks, that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to check out all these companies that, if you see, there's a bunch of companies that they went down, but you just don't know how deep are they going to get. Then at this point, I'm checking on this key points to see if these companies are really worth for me to get in. I just want to make sure they have no debt and that they can run for a few years or for whatever maybe time frame, due to that if the SPX goes down and we go into bearish market, I need that company to survive. So can GNUS do that? Yes, it does. It can definitely do it. So again, I'm already in the stock, so I'm just it's a plus for me, and it's like I said, Andy is always talking about it, and it's because it makes sense. And right now, you guys should be looking at that type of quick financials, so that way you guys are getting into stocks that actually does not have debt, and they do have cash in hand. Because if all these taxes go up or whatever may be, then that's going to be a little bit endangerment for the companies, because now they have to pay so much taxes and all this other stuff, and people just sell off. They're like, oh no, now they're not going to survive. But if you have a stocks that actually do have cash in hand, do not have debt, they're like, most likely not just you are going to look at it, you're going to see a bunch of people looking at the same stock and willing to put money into it. Even though if they dip a little bit, you don't know what the dip is going to be. Okay, you have no idea. Such as an example, let's say FSR, for example. Okay, so you just don't know if FSR this is it, or you don't know if this is it. You have no idea. Do I like the stock? Yes, I like the stock. Do I believe in it? Yes, I do believe in it. So anyways, so those are the things that right now, due to how everything, all the fluff technically got taken away in the past 3 weeks or past month. All of this was fluff. You go to any stock and all of this fluff was done in the past few months, and now all of that is gone. And right now we start seeing the true colors of the whole thing. And that is even counting that the SPX hasn't even gone bearish. Once this thing actually goes bearish, if it does, I'm not saying that it will. I can't see that. I can't. I'm not looking at the economic side of anything. Remember, I don't see news. All I see is charts. That's all I see. So anyways, imagine what would, I mean, how deep is it going to go if this actually goes bearish? And the problem is that we have been pampered, the people that started trading with me, which it was last year, right? And but usually corrections are crazy in the stock market. So if you take a look at it, you just have a few waves up, and then it goes like into this deep type of corrections. So the stock market is not easy. You need to start, getting used to all of this craziness that we're about to start seeing in the regular stock market. And this right here, I think it was Trump at that time or something along those lines. You could see it right there. I mean, but in regular stock markets, look at this. You see all that? You see how crazy those drops are? I mean, that's going to be painful. And if you're going to be in certain stocks, I like CCIV. I mean, is this the bottom? I don't know. I mean, here was the bottom with that being a bottom. I'm hoping for a double bottom, but I don't know. This could be the bottom too, right? $10. It's a SPAC at the end. So that's the thing that we gotta start checking all these things out and going into a little bit further into companies. Which, what do you think real investors, or and not real investors, fundamental investors will be looking at? The people that are like, I don't care about if it dips more. I just want to get into that stock because that company is really good. Okay, so you got homework. and and that's it. That's all I can share. I don't know if you guys have any questions.
Not really. And do me a favor. I think I missed your message last time. Can you check the EXPR? Just a quick review.
Oh, this right here, you're in Express Inc. Okay. All right. So let me take a look at this right here. All right. So usually you always want to take a look at your supports, right? And based on this support, you always have is this guy over here. You see how it came back to the 50 and then it bounced off. So right now you are above it, which means this is the floor as of right now. Why? Because it got tested before. So all I can tell you is, I think this one it is in a hold on, let me remove all this. So I see that this guy here, it's like in some sort of type of wedge type of thing going on. And if that is the case, you're getting narrow and narrow and narrow. The only problem about this stock is that it was moved based on hype. This right here, right? And that's a big issue. So at this point, what you gotta check out is that you are gonna get into the point where this wedge is gonna get to a tiny point, and at that point, you're gonna understand and see if you're gonna break out or you're gonna break down. So
Okay.
this is where you want to know what the fundamentals are in this company. Is it worth it for you to wait? Are you going to be able to come back? I don't know what your average is. You don't have to tell me, but you need to start checking out how can you check on this company's financials to see if it's worth it for you to stay, or you're just going to be losing time and losing money. Again, as of right now, chart wise, you can still bring down, look at this. You can still come down a little bit more before bouncing if you're going to bounce. So you see that, I mean, I didn't know there was the 50 there, but it looks like the 50 is right there too. The 50 is this guy over here, this guy over here. This is the line I just drew. All right, but this is the 50. So right now you are within this channel here. So next thing, you're most likely you're going to touch it, and then you're going to try to go all the way to the 5 or the 492. But this is going narrow and narrow, and you're going to get to the point whether you break out or you're going to break down. If you break out, good for you. But in this case, if there is no hype and if the company it is worth it, then you will break out. If the company is not worth it, you will break down most likely.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Thank.
You're welcome. All right, guys. Any more questions?
Thank you, Yolanda, for answering my question.
Thank you. All right. Bye, guys. Take
Bye,
care.
guys. Take care.
Thanks.
Thank
Have a good
you.
night.
Bye bye. Thank you for being part. Bye, guys.